only show that's 3 dimensions away from Alien vs. Predator being fought on Disneyland. I'm your host 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Predator from 1987. Predator was directed by John McTiernan and was written by Jim Thomas and John Thomas, brothers, who basically the idea was about a group of mercenaries that go into a jungle and they're being hunted after a successful mission. They're being hunted by another life form that is not from this world. The movie itself was, when it first came out, some people didn't really know what it was. People thought it was like, oh, it's like a Commando, but with an alien in it. And some people were kind of disappointed the fact that there was an alien in the it wasn't an alien inside the movie. Like, it wasn't all the way through the movie. They were thinking, but it was going to be like Alien all the way through the movie. But instead, it was kind of like the movie Alien, where it's like, you don't see the creature all the way through. You see it, but when you do see it, it delivers. And I kind of feel like that's a fair assessment. Like, I love this movie. I think this is one of the great movies. I have always had a soft spot for the Predator franchise. I love the first one. I don't really care much for the second one. I just think the second one is just kind of mediocre at best. It's just not that great. As for the third film, Predator is my favorite. I actually had a poster over there, a little mini one that I got from the theater back in 2010 when the movie came out, because I went and saw it with my uncle. And it was just one of the greatest sequels I've ever seen. Like, I still to this day think it's in my top 20 movies of all time, because it's just so damn good. I love it. I thought it was great. And then of course you have the Alien vs. Predator movies, which I will say the first one, I really enjoyed the first one. Unrated. That's for the second one. Parts of it I like, but then some parts are stupid. Like, for instance, it's just pitch black. You can't see nothing and everything, and it's like, what's happening? I can't see. And then, and some parts of it just get stupid, and so it is what it is. And as for The Predator, I think it is funny. I've always found The Predator to be a funny movie. Like, I always said, when I heard they were making The Predator, I was kind of bummed, because I'm like, I love what Robert Rodriguez did, and I know he wanted to make a sequel. And I understand, the studio wanted to too, but then, of course, he got busy doing machete kills and all that other stuff, and then, of course, the studio's like, someone come up and say, hey, let's reboot it. And then, of course, they did it. And Shane Black come along and said, all right, I want to do it, but it's not a reboot, which I respected him for not doing a reboot. He just said, I want to make a sequel, but not really a sequel. And so, of course, he made it. And after heavy reshoots, the movie still was mediocre, which I enjoy the comedy aspect of it. I think as a Predator movie, it's not really that great, but as just a movie itself, if you were not calling it a Predator movie, I thought it was fascinating. I actually really enjoyed that movie. I laughed my ass off at some of the jokes, and I still to this day think there's one joke that I always laugh at. And so that to me always found a soft spot. And I'm going to watch Prey. I just felt like since Prey's not out yet, I'm going to do a review on the first movie. And so Predator 1984, which is so it's directed by John McTiernan and written by Jim and John Thompson. And the movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, Carl Weathers, Sonny Landham, Bill Duke, Jesse the Bodybuilder Ventura, Shane Black. The movie is based in Kevin Peter Hall's The Predator. The movie itself is essentially what I said about a group of mercenaries that go in there to extract some information from the CIA, and they kill these guerrillas and get their information out. But then it turns out they're being hunted by an extraterrestrial force who is picking up on their skills and everything, and then it plans to hunt and kill them. And I've always found this plot fascinating. I've always found this movie fascinating. I always thought it was a great idea. Okay, they go and shoot. If you don't ever watch this movie, if you've never seen it, just call it Predator. But almost everyone on the planet has seen it and knows what this is about. Well, I always thought that was an aspect was amazing. If you've never seen this movie, you just go in there and without watching the trailer or anything, you watch this movie, you're like, and besides that, you forget when you see that ship go down at the beginning, and then you watch this movie, you're like, oh, okay, all right. You see, it's like a soldier movie. And then it turns into a horror film, kind of like in, the vein of other movies that, where it flips its genre, like From Dusk Till Dawn or something like that. And I've always found that fascinating. Predator, to me, I've always had a soft spot for, even the bad films, Predator 2 and stuff, or The Predator. I feel like there's still, moments that are enjoyable in all these movies. And so, this movie, yeah, it's cheesy, but it's fun cheesy, though. Because, You know, like, it's about a bunch of macho guys that go out there and they think they're the hot shit. And then they go and they kick ass out in the battlefield. And then they're like on their way home like, yeah, that was a great idea, buddy. Yeah, we did it. And then all of a sudden they're just like, all right. And then they start getting killed like one by one. And then they're like, all right, we got to kill this thing. And then they go, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and just blow the hell out of a jungle. You know, which really, I mean, really, they're kind of dicks for doing that. But like, and so when the Predator starts picking them off, they're so macho and overly, like, you know, confident that they can kill this thing, to where they all start, it's easy for the Predator to pick them off because they really think that they can win against this creature. And it wasn't until, like, Arnold, you know, that he finally understands, like, I gotta play by its rules. You know, I can't just, like, you know, use guns and stuff, because it's, like, not using, it's using far more advanced technology to defeat this thing. In fact, this movie, I think it's a great movie. This movie went through a lot of trouble during production, because, like, one, like, the creature wasn't even the creature we saw in the movie. Originally, it was a much thinner creature, and it was supposed to be portrayed by Jean-Claude Van Damme. But then, of course, he didn't match what the production was, and he got overexhausted, and so they said, no, we don't need you. And so they hired Kevin Peter Hall, who, of course, did a good job as the Predator. I think he did a fantastic job, and, you know, he stayed with the franchise for Predator 2, and then, of course, he passed away a couple of years later. And I've always felt like he was a great Predator, and I really enjoyed him in this movie. I thought he did a great job. In fact, the Predator's blood was actually supposed to be orange and not green, but because, you know, they were having issues with, like, the blood and also with the censorship and all that, because blood, and so they changed it to green because they're like, it's green, which they just use glow sticks as the green blood. That's how they got to look that way. And so I've always found this movie was fun. I mean, it's, you know, like, it's not scary, but it's still, like, it feels like, I would say it's the best thing. It's an action film, but with a alien in it, you know? Like, I would say best comparison would probably be Aliens, which is, you know, like, it has some, like, Aliens, I feel like, does have a little more scarier moments, but I would say Aliens is more action compared to Predator. You know, like, you know, Predator, I mean, you know, I was saying, like, you know, compared to, like, Alien 1, Aliens is, like, has more action. I would say about, you know, Predator is about that tone. You know, like, I really enjoy this movie. It has a lot of, you know, it has a lot of one-liners, like, you know, Arnold saying knock knock, and then just blowing people away, and get to the chopper, and just, there's so many iconic stuff in this movie, to where it's, how can you not quote this movie? You know, if it bleeds, we can kill it. You know, and just, there's so much iconic stuff in this movie. Like, kill me, do it now, kill me, what are you waiting for, do it, kill me. You know, like, I rewatched this movie today, and I was like, I really love the idea that he is just, like, ready, he's like, come on, kill me, and the Predator sees that booby trap, and it knows, it feels it, and it doesn't realize there's another booby trap on top of it, and so it's like, oh, I know what you want me to do, I know, you want me to come in there and kill you, and it's like, nope. And it goes up there, but then it gets killed by a giant hawk, and so it's like, you beaten. And which I thought that was clever, and I always thought was, there is a scene where Arnold literally puts a bunch of bullets and makes bombs, and he's just shooting that thing. He shoots it 3 times at the Predator, and I'm just thinking, if I'm the Predator, I'm like, how? You have no weapons. You keep shooting bombs at me. Like, he has like two, and then he has one on his pouch. And the Predator keeps getting blown, and it destroys its technology and everything, to where it's like, it has to fight fair, and to where finally the Predator is like, the Predator gets so pissed off, to where the Predator takes his mask off, and it's like, you want to go 1v1? Let's go, bro! Let's go! He doesn't say that, but like, it's basically like, that's what it's telling Arnold, basically, like, just takes his mask off, and it just like, punches Arnold, beats the shit out of him, to where he's like getting his ass beat by the Predator, and it's so messed up, to where Arnold's crawling, and it's just still kicking the shit out of him, beating him up, because it's like, what are you gonna do now, huh? You ain't got no bombs now, do you? And it's like, and then finally when the Predator, when it crawls in and sees that it's Arnold's trap, it's like, you think I'm that stupid? You think I'm gonna crawl under here and get killed by you? No. So then it jumps up there, but then I realized he had a second trap, and, you know, then it has the final confrontation where it's like, you know, like, I'm gonna blow you up, you know, and he starts laughing. You know, which I've always found, like, it was fascinating, because it's like, you know, it did honor the code. Like, the Predator did honor, it does honorably hunt. Like, it doesn't see, like, it never targeted the woman in the movie, because it didn't see her as a target. It saw her as, like, look, she's a civilian. She's just a cat. She'd be a casualty. I don't hunt people. That's not fair. You know, like, They're in, like, you know, like, and honestly, I know some people say, well, what about the guy that was injured and they were carrying, he had a gun? Well, apparently, he was still on the war table because he's a soldier. He had guns. Like, he was part of the plan. Like, Arnold doesn't have a gun when he goes after Arnold at the end. But Arnold, look, it does see, Arnold's still a threat. Arnold's still a target. He's literally, like, you know, like, he sees, like, Arnold, like, you know, doesn't matter if you're injured or not. Like, you know, like, if you're part of the game, it's going to hunt you. You know, like, if it's not going to stop because you're unarmed. You know, if you're injured, it's just, all right, you're making my job easier, you know? But if it's like, if you're like someone that's like, say, sick, or if you're someone that's like, hey, look, I can't fight you because, you know, I have asthma or something like that, and or I'm just a harmless person, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt you at all because it's like, you're not a threat to it. You're not game and sport. You know, it doesn't believe in that. It believes in the code, and it's like, I'm not going to hunt you. You're not worth it. You're not, it's not worth my time and effort. And so it'll let you be, you know. Now, if you try to kill it or something, it will kill you because it's like, you know, you're a threat to it now, but it's not going to hunt you for it. But I always found that fascinating. It's like, you know. But, I mean, this movie is a fun movie. It's a fun time. If you've never seen Predator, it is fantastic. The cast is amazing. It feels like you even have a fun cast shot at the end. Which, if you actually look at Arnold kind of does look like, when he turns around, it almost looks like, I was telling my sister this, and I heard this, I'm going to tell you full disclosure, I actually heard this part from another YouTubers, you know, from another site. I heard this from them, like, they were talking about this part, so this isn't mine or nothing, but, like, when they were talking about it, they said, when Arnold and Predator, they said, when he turns around, it's almost like somebody is telling him, hey, Arnold, and then he turns around, what? And then it's like, that's his credits. That's his credits. And he's like, what? What's credits? Because everybody else is like posing like, and they're like, like this, like, ah, yeah. And then Arnold's like, what? Huh? What? It's like, I guarantee you, they were probably trying to do it, but Arnold was probably busy or something, or smoking cigars in his trailer. And they were like, Arnold, we need you out there to come do this, man. Come on. And it's like, I'll do it in the later. Okay, later. And so they're like, look, we need Arnold and we're losing light, so just tell Arnold to turn around and we'll get him. Hey, Arnold. Yes, we got him. All right, we're wrapped. What? I could have done it better. No, we got it. We're good. But yeah, the movie's fun. It's entertaining. If I had to give it a great grade, I would give it a solid A-.